And she said, "Well, I don't know anybody who wants to take this on." And Joe, that's how you end up owning a women's clothing store. Just with a conversation like that. And
My guest today has spent 30 years in PR and marketing and then decided that wasn't enough, so she bought a luxury consignment boutique. Beth McRae runs the McRae Agency and High Society Resale Boutique in Scottsdale, Arizona. And she's here to talk about what it actually looks like to run two completely different businesses at the same time. So, welcome, Beth. It's great to have you on the Joe Show.
oh, Joe, thank you. I'm just delighted to join you. Thank you for having me.
You run a retail business and a PR agency. How do you
Yes.
decide where your time and energy goes on any given day?
Well, I did not, I was not one of those people that said I always wanted to have a women's clothing boutique or a retail this or that. It wasn't part of my dream. It's something that the universe sort of dropped into my lap because I was actually a customer and a consigner at this beautiful place that was actually founded in 1984. Well, I found out that the second owner back in 2022 was going to close it down because she just was tired of running it for 23 years. And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "You cannot close it down. I love to shop here. I love to consign here." And she said, "Well, I don't know anybody who wants to take this on." And Joe, that's how you end up owning a women's clothing store. Just with a conversation like that. And so I just, out of an abundance of desire to see it stay open, I decided to purchase it. And the way that I am able to do what I do is by having it's all about women, right? And I
Mhm.
mean, honestly, I love women. I love working with women. I love supporting women, hiring them, collaborating with them. Both of my businesses are run completely by women. All of my employees happen to be female. It's partly because they gravitate to these particular businesses. Women are great communicators, so that explains why they would be attracted to a PR and marketing firm. And of course, also a women's clothing boutique, need not say more about that. The women that work there just, started off as customers and then said, "Well, I would love to work here part-time." They're all part-time and they love helping customers and shopping and ringing up the register and doing all the things that you do in that kind of environment. And honestly, they don't even need me. I do have an office there on site that I go into, so I can work both on my PR agency activities as well as pop into the boutique and, you know, be available as needed. But the truth be told is they don't even need me. They run that machine so well. They're so trustworthy and such wonderful human beings, and they're great with the customers, and they have a great eye for fashion, and they just love what they do. So, it's easy to run businesses when you have great team members and team
Absolutely.
members that love what they do and are take pride in what they do. And honestly, that's how I make these two that's how I'm able to feed two babies because
Exactly.
it's
And
really
what
these
a great
great women
example
that
of
are.
a business to suit who you are. It's the ultimate like poster child for that, isn't it? You were the customer and just couldn't bear to
Yeah,
see it go.
exactly, and that's how
And
all the employees are. They are former customers or consigners or current customers and consigners, and
mm,
just fell in love with the environment and everything, and that they wanted to work there. And then on the PR side of it, we happen to have all women, not by design necessarily, but most of the resumes I've gotten over the 30 years I've owned the McRae Agency have been from women.
mhm,
Once upon a time when I started off my career, it was heavily male dominated.
mm.
And somewhere along the line that flipped. And now it's actually a more heavily female dominated field. So it's been interesting to watch that change over the decades.
It's a
So
big change,
yes,
isn't it? It's a very big change. Yeah. You're currently focused on growing online sales for the boutique.
yes.
What have you tried? What's actually sort of moving the needle and working best for that particular brand?
We have to do all different kinds of things to make sure that our website shows up on people's radars. We have Instagram Live and TikTok Live once a
Excellent.
week. So we're showcasing the products and showing them to people and offering them a little discount if they want to go pop in to the site and buy it right then. We are very active on social media. We actually have some SEO activities happening to try to stay relevant in the SEO searches. We really work hard to get great reviews on Google and Yelp from our customer base. So there are so many pieces of that puzzle that go into when you think about your online footprint, your digital footprint. And then hopefully all roads lead back to the site. And then we have, of course, the right keywords on the site for each item. We know which kind of items to put on the site for sale based on, what's trending in the resale market, the luxury resale market. We have found the number one seller in terms of designer brand is Louis Vuitton.
Mhm.
It's the powerhouse in the resale designer bag world. It just they sell like hotcakes, and that's what
Mm.
people are looking for and what they're going after. We actually also do a blog post every week that lives on our website. So then again, and we populate that with keywords like Louis Vuitton and other top
Yes.
designer brands and things that we know people are searching for online. I have a tremendous digital marketing manager that does all of this. Like she's just incredible, and she knows exactly how to, get people's attention pointed in the right direction, and for us to show up in the searches for the types of things they're searching for, like Louis Vuitton bags, other
It's
designer names.
perfect. I just want to cheer you on. She sounds
Thank
like
you.
she's just doing everything in an outstanding way, and
She
the
is.
stuff that people mess with online, even with labeling your images with those keywords, like describing the product very clearly in an image label, and then the metadata on your website, the tags, the categories, everything,
Yes.
is so important. And so many people just slap up an image that's got like a string, a name that means nothing to anybody, which isn't going to show up in image search, and they're just missing
Mm-mm.
that opportunity big time. And then the blogs, as you say, are very powerful. I think people overlook that in e-commerce. For my clients, I do a blog post every week, and the ads that I run to those posts generally outperform ads that I run to product or collection pages every
Is
time.
that right?
I can put
I'm
up a blog post, and then I can run a Facebook ad to it and get 7 times return on ad spend. A product image or product page or collection might do
Mhm.
5. And I keep testing and split testing, and most of the time that's the
I'm gonna recommend that to her. I'm
get
gonna
her to
tell
do it.
her,
It's the
give it a
flywheel.
test, try some ads
Yeah.
for the blog
So
posts.
but what you're doing with the lives too, I have a client, I would love to coax her to do lives, but she's very much a backstage type of person with a very successful e-com fashion brand, but not wanting to be at the front. But I have seen really good results from people who will, as you do, get out there weekly so people know to expect it, and it becomes a social event online, and
It
it
does.
connects that energy of you. So I honestly, I just feel like cheering as I hear you say this. It's like, yes, we're doing
Yes.
it.
Oh, I'm so glad that you agree, and yes, that you're seeing those results in your working environment with your
Yeah.
clients.
And you can, as you say, your marketing manager is across this. People think when I started in marketing, people would say, "Don't hire a generalist. They don't know what to do," and it's rubbish because the year on year growth for my clients is, 50% same marketing budget, but because you're building that flywheel like you are, bringing more people onto your email list to market to email, doing your paid ads or
Yeah.
whatever, and your lives and your blogs, it just works together to build that momentum with a bigger pool of customers every year.
Right, right. But
Kudos,
but you do
well
need all
done.
these things firing at the same time. And I'm glad you brought up emails because do have a newsletter that goes out once a week. We come
Yes.
up with a weekly sales promotion.
Mm.
Right now, we're promoting Western wear because
Mhm.
we're in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is a very, kind of has Western, cowboy hats and that sort of thing. And so we've got a big Western week coming up next week in Scottsdale, so we're promoting our Western wear this week. But
Buggy boots.
it all is, it's all very strategic, and it all sings from the same, song page in the songbook. So we have the email newsletter that goes out. We've got the graphics from that go on to social. We've got that email database that we're constantly building and growing. We have the pop-up on our website that shows up when you go onto the site. So you're signing up to get the announcements for you know, the
Mm.
sales and everything. And then also then we're harvesting those emails and building up our email database, which keeps growing, and everything just kind of builds on each other.
It's actually a joy, when you see the flywheel grow and build that momentum, and then you have customers that will come back 11 times, 13 times. You probably have a very high customer retention rate, I would imagine, because you have
We do.
a loyal following, and it's just makes the cost of acquiring a new customer the first time just that much better over the lifetime. Luxury resale has become a trend. People are looking for sustainability and conscious consumption. How do you position high society in that conversation?
Well, it yes, that's one of the reasons I love it. That's one of the reasons I've always been a resale and consignment shopper, because I love the idea of giving those things new lives and new home and not going out and buying new retail, if you will, right?
Mm.
At the shopping mall. So I'm very eco-conscious about that, and I'm delighted that I get to play in that environment now all the time. And, we get so many young people in there now that they, 5, 10 years ago, they didn't see in the store
Mhm.
or in other like similar stores. But now, and they like to call it thrifting. And I don't love the word thrifting because I'm like, our
Mm.
things are really nice. It's not Goodwill or, those
Yeah,
some of the less nice environments, right? That are more like a warehouse, shopping in a
yes.
warehouse. So, but I'm like, I don't care if you girls want to call it thrifting, that's fine with me, just as long as you come in and shop. So, the younger set, they like to refer to it as thrifting, but yeah, we're just we like to think of ourselves as high end and luxury because we really only take in the very nicest of merchandise. I mean, it has to, be in excellent condition. It has to be somewhat current, unless we're talking like really great vintage pieces, which those are my favorite. I love to come across like a vintage designer bag or just any kind of vintage thing that's unique. You're not going to see it on anybody
Mm.
else. And that is the other
Ah,
thing about shopping resale is really it's not like going into a brand name store at the mall and that you're potentially going to have, four other people that are buying the same dress that day or that week and that you could, run into or whatever. When you shop at a store like ours, you feel like you're really getting something unique. And you are because it's we're curating from all these wonderful closets all over the Phoenix area.
there's a
So you're
wonderful theme, isn't it, in a world that's becoming more cookie cutter and where you're just a cog in a
ex
machine to really
exactly,
lean into that individuality and unique expression of who
exactly.
you are. I mean, it was actually one of the earliest propaganda themes when we started with the Industrial Revolution, and people used to
Mhm.
just buy what they needed, and suddenly they had all this stuff they had to sell. And one of the themes was appealing to women, saying, "You need to express who you are," which worked
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
So revive that. And I certainly hope you have a blog post that is titled with your H1 header for SEO. Oh, well, if you must call it thrifting, you
Yes. Well,
you need to
we
get
do
that on your
use
site.
thrifting in our we use thrifting in our keywords for everything
Yeah,
because we understand that our younger generations are using that word. They're
yeah.
looking for thrift shops near me or thrift shops in Scottsdale or
Damn it.
thrifting. So we do. We put in our keywords and everything, even though I don't personally like to use it.
Yeah, it's certainly a content angle, isn't it? The fed up angle. You've
It's so
raised
it's a
millions
must.
through charity, if I'm correct in my research over the years. Is it part of your business strategy or is it just generally separate?
Interesting that you would ask that. Thank you for asking that. Being a volunteer and a fundraiser in the charitable world has been very important to me my entire life. Even when I was a little girl, my sister and I would take rocks from the desert. We would hand paint them and put a card table out in front of my parents' house and sell them for 25 cents each to raise money for the Arizona Humane Society for animals, homeless animals, because we loved animals so much.
I would have bought
So
all your rocks.
yeah, we didn't raise a lot of money, but people were so delighted that we would be out there doing that in the middle of the day rather than playing with our Barbie dolls or what have you. So we started having carnivals in the backyard at my parents' house and pet shows where we would give the neighborhood kids pets awards and things, and we charged them an admission fee. And it was all to raise money for the animals. So that's how I started my fundraising career.
I love it.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and I've gone on to do, a lot more. I'm still really involved with animal organizations because, they're very close to my heart. My husband and I are big animal lovers, and also, I do things in a lot of the other realms, the American Heart Association, American Cancer Society. We have family and friends touched by those things, unfortunately, and then a whole host of other things. But here's the great thing: when I bought High Society, I found out they already had 3 wonderful charitable partners in place, because what
Mhm.
happens is, you have to keep the merchandise rotating, and not everything sells. You
Yes.
put it out at full price, then after a certain number of days, if it doesn't sell, it gets marked down, and so on, and then ultimately, and the customers have to agree to this in their contract up front, then it's available for donation. So we donate to 3 different charities, and they use the items that we donate for different things. Like, we have an animal medical fund organization in town that gets some of our items because they have more of a true thrift shop, and they can
Mm,
resell those in their thrift shop. So we have things for them. We have things for a women's organization called Dress for Success, and it's
mhm,
for women trying to get back into the workforce. And so we're giving them more like work attire clothing for
mhm,
their ladies as they, can shop in their closet to get ready for their job interview. And then there's a third, organization called Harvest Compassion that is for, like, really the neediest of the needy families in the Phoenix area, and everything else we give to them, and then they have kind of an area where the families can come in and shop and pick out, things, and, including used clothing and food and all the types of things that they might need, and bedding and so forth. So, that those 3 relationships are already in place, and I was so thrilled because, every time we get someone consigning things, and they, of course, all have to sign the contract and agree, they understand the process, and usually people are like, "Once it's out of my house, I don't ever wanna see it again."
mhm,
Like, "Goodbye." So it works out, it's a beautiful system
mm.
because it's going through all those different, cycles and price reductions and everything, and then we donate a lot. It turns out to be quite a lot that gets donated.
Imagine if the entire fashion industry worked on the system that you did and
I
didn't
know.
dump it in landfill. Imagine. Like,
I
it's a
don't
wonderful
understand
system.
it. I don't understand how any clothing ends up in a landfill. I
Mm,
just don't.
mm.
Doesn't
That's
make any
it's a
sense.
it's a beautiful system, I love it. You mentioned that 2 of your competitors are actually good friends and you share information openly. So how did
Yes.
that happen, and what kind of relationship does that give you, that sort of just straight out competition doesn't?
I don't think of anyone as my competitor. I feel like
Mm,
there's enough room for everyone to play in the sandbox together. There's plenty to go around. There really is.
yeah.
And so these gals are people that I've known for, many, many years. And I just bought this business, High Society Resale Boutique, in 2022.
Mhm.
So, I had already established
You're the new
relationships with
kid.
them before I bought it. And they were surprised. They were like, "Really? You're gonna be in the resale world with us now?" And I said, "Yes." And so they were super wonderful and welcoming and happy to have coffee. We have coffee, we get updates, we find out what's trending, what's going on. Sadly, and this happens not just in our city, but in a lot of cities, there are thieves out there that
Mhm.
work, and they'll smash the glass cases and take the designer bags and run out the door. Or, they'll have a ring of people that are coming in, and they're distracting the sales team, and they're grabbing, they have these really like pretty effective, theft rings that they operate.
Mm,
So we share information about that.
mm,
Like, "Oh, hey, did you hear about them targeting this store, or my store got targeted? Here's what our video, cameras caught, so you can see what they look like and be on the lookout for them." We share useful information like that.
mm. I'm imagining that your clients for the PR agency are very different to your work in your retail business. Is there a
Mhm.
principle that you've learnt in the retail that transfers over to help what you do for your clients in the PR agency?
Just a reminder that there's nothing that beats great customer service.
True.
It does it just doesn't matter what business you're in. Great customer service wins every time, and sometimes that means I have to take a hit on something financially.
Mm,
If an item of someone's gets lost in our store, it's a rather big store. It's 43 100 square feet. It's fairly
mm,
large. And so, yes, on occasion something goes missing and we don't know, did somebody shoplift it? Did it accidentally get donated? It doesn't matter. But if it's missing and we can't account for it and it wasn't sold, I still pay them anyway because
mhm.
it's worth it to me to keep those relationships intact.
That's very wise.
Same
Yeah.
same thing on the public relations and marketing side. Although we're not losing things in the same way that we might lose a material item in the boutique. But certainly if we make any kind of a mistake, and it doesn't matter who on my team has made it, I fall on my sword. I say, you know
Mhm,
what? This falls on me. I'm the head of the agency, and I
mhm,
take full responsibility for it. I apologize and I want to know, how can I fix this? What can I do to make this better? We want to, take good care of you. And so same kind of principles apply. It's worth it to keep those relationships that you've already
mm,
built
mm.
rather than to try to go out and get new relationships.
I love that you don't just blame your staff, or I'm a big
Mm-mm.
proponent of praising in public, and, if you need to remedy something with your team members, you do it in private one-on-one,
Very much so.
and just protect them and help them feel like, they can build their skills in a way that's not full of shame and all that rubbish.
Right. They need to need to have confidence and feel
Mm,
secure that I have their backs, and I
mm,
always do. So I'm always the one say, you know what, I take responsibility and do what we need to do to fix it and so forth. And usually it's something that can be easily fixed.
mm.
And then if I have to have a little side conversation with somebody, and usually, they know, like, oops, this fell through the cracks or something. But,
That's right.
I'm very gentle when I have the conversations, and I always load them up with lots of praise as well.
You've said your advice to new entrepreneurs is write a business plan, even if you don't use it. What's the value if you're not gonna follow it?
Well, when I decided to go out on my own in the public relations realm, and because I was working for McCann at the time, and then decided after 5 years, and I worked on some really big national brands and great companies. My dad is the one who said, "You need to write a business plan." And I said, "Well, I know what kind of clients I'm going after. I have it all I have it figured out, right? I don't need a business plan." And he just, he really leaned on me hard. And I really respected him as a businessman himself. And he just said, I want you to write a business plan, and here's the deadline I want you to use to turn it into me because I'm going to review it.
Good on
And
you.
I did. I did it. I did it. I didn't want to do it. And of course, back then we did not have the internet. So, and going like to the library and doing the stuff the old way, right?
Damn, you had to write the thing.
I did. I did. And, did I look at it much after that? I didn't. But was the exercise of writing the business plan very good? Yes. Because
Mhm.
it got me to think really strategically as a business person, not just somebody who had worked at a big agency and knew how to service clients and do all the things that we do
Very
in
good.
PR and marketing realm, but to just force myself to have better understanding of the inner workings of a business.
Oh,
You have
well
to,
done. Yes.
accounting, bookkeeping, right? Not the fun stuff
Yes.
necessarily, but
Yes.
just all the different aspects and, how I was going to be going after new business development with clients and to think that through. And anyhow, I was glad that he insisted that I do it. I'm glad that I did it. And I definitely am very pro business plans. And they don't have to be a full year in review because our world is changing so fast
Mhm.
that even if it's a 3-month business plan, just, chunk it out into quarters or whatever works. But just going through the process, I mean, I did go on to get an MBA after that because I thought, you know what? I do need to know more about how my clients' businesses work, not just the marketing function, not just the
Yes.
stuff for public relations, but, supply chain issues
Mhm.
and, be able to read the financial reports, be able to be a creative problem solver for them beyond just the marketing realm.
All right, Beth, quick fire round of questions, short answers, don't overthink it.
Okay.
We're going to go back to painting rocks at age 8, as you said, to raise money for the Arizona Humane Society. What did that teach you that still shows up in how you run your business today?
That people are inherently good and they want to help. I really
Okay.
believe in that. People are
Love
inherently
it.
good.
Worst marketing advice that you hear people still giving?
Cut your marketing budget when we run into low points in the business cycles. You better just
Yes.
cut your marketing budget, cut wherever you can. Terrible advice.
Tell me why quickly. Why is that bad?
Because that's the time you need to market the most because you're trying to struggle to, stay afloat and survive if we're having a recession or we're having, whatever it is. That's when you've got to market even more.
You've been throwing, and I hope I can say this correctly, a Dia de los Muertos party? How do you
Oh,
say
it's
that?
hard. I know. Dia de los Muertos.
Every year since 1994, that's 30 years. What keeps you showing up for something that long?
It's become a signature event at our
More than
home.
30 years. Yep.
People expect the party every year. It's our unique signature event. Some people do, maybe a Christmas Eve party or, a New Year's Day party or whatever their thing is. We're the only people I've ever heard of that do a Day of the Dead party. It's a Mexican Day of the Dead party. Of course, Arizona is very close to the Mexican border, so it's very relevant. We serve Mexican food, and I bring out my whole collection, and it's just so much fun.
Hmm. That's definitely something different. Best purchase you've ever made at your own boutique?
I bought a beautiful Yves Saint Laurent designer. It's a gorgeous bag it's a piece from the 60s, and it's just got such an interesting and unique silhouette to it, not a traditional handbag as you might think. And people are just, ask questions about it every time I use it. I've had people try to buy it off of me when I've walked around with it. I'm like,
No,
not
not
for
my bag.
sale, not for sale now.
Your motto is quick to smile and slow to anger.
Yeah.
When was that tested most recently?
Oh gosh. Well, I really believe that a smile is a gift that we give people every day, and it's a gift we give ourselves because I feel better when I smile. And I the slow to anger is so important because once those words are out of your mouth, you just can't take it back. You can apologize, but you just really can't bring that back in. And so I'm really careful. I follow the advice, pause when agitated. If something happens, the best advice to me is just to do nothing initially. Just pause, think it over.
Beth, thank you for your time today. Loved hearing of what you're doing so well with marketing. I'm
So
cheering you
much.
on from the other side of the world.
And same here. I'll be cheering you on for
Make me
sure.
want to visit Arizona and go shopping, and I'm literally the marketer who doesn't shop much. Anyway, really appreciate you being on the Joe Show. Thank you.